Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center right here in Louisville. We're all about hooking you up with free, super secret business coaching and training services. It doesn't matter if you're just dipping your toes in or gearing up for a big expansion. We've got the goods, the tools, and the know-how to help you win. To get the scoop, cruise on over to LouisvilleSmallBusiness.com or hit us up at 502-977-5800. Big thanks for tuning in to today's webinar. Feel free to drop your questions or chat it up with our speaker using the chat feature. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director here at the Louisville Small Business Development Center. Thanks for joining us today for another edition of the Toolkit Tuesday. And as always, I'm joined with my good friend and coworker, Janet Flaw. Hello, Janet.
Hi, but it's not Tuesday, Dave. So what's up?
That's right. It's Thursday. I'm so in the groove. You're gonna have to edit this out.
It'll be fine. It's a special day.
That's right. So it's Toolkit Thursday. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, it is Thursday, and thanks for joining us on a Thursday. Not bad. So yeah, there we go. So as always, if you wouldn't mind just to let us know that you can see and hear as well, just look at the bottom of your screen there. You'll see a toolbar. And if you don't, just take your cursor and hover over there. It should pop right up for you. And you'll see the chat feature and click on that chat feature and it should pop up. If you wouldn't mind, just put in there your name and where you're joining from so that we can know that you're there. But I always like to know where everybody's joining from because that's probably one of my favorite things to do is to understand where everybody is and how they got here. So Lisa from Louisville, Ashley in Louisville, Melissa, Louisville, Sam, Michelle, Jamie, Bowling Green, yeah. Sierra, hello, Natalie, Selena, Marcia, hi Marcia, Mia, hey Mia, Candia. Great, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us. Hey Sandra, Lexington, all right. Lexington, Mary in Lexington is also, thanks for joining us. Sachin from Louisville. Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for joining. So, you know, it's now May and we are about almost exactly a month away or a month past our tax filing deadlines. And so what better time to think about next year's taxes is right after you file your last year taxes. And where we like to start is in our local taxes because local business taxes are so important. And even if you're just a sole proprietorship, there's special things that you need to do with your local taxes. And so we've invited our local taxing expert. She has helped us with numerous programs, always happy to share all her taxing expertise. Carrie Pierce, she's with the Louisville Metro Revenue Commission. So Carrie, are you still out there? There she is.
Hi there, I am. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you and I have met several times and you've been such a great resource. I want to thank you for joining us again today because we just hit you up on some stuff just about a month ago. You came and helped us out with another program, shared with a bunch of people and spent the day with everyone. And so I was telling Carrie, I got some feedback from her presentation and like I had this guy say that he didn't know tax people could be so friendly. And so yeah, Carrie's always a great person to hang out with. So, so Carrie, if you want to just share your screen, let's dive in and just start talking about the taxes and all the requirements you have to file to get started.
Sure.
And also, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat, and then we'll be able to ask Carrie about this. So anything you want to know. And you can also get very specific with your business. You just say, I have a specific problem. What would I do? So take this opportunity to consult an expert in this field. Hi, Molly. Thanks for joining today. Glad you can pop in.
I am so sorry, guys. I had my IT guy here a minute ago and I thought he had solved everything. So let's see if I've got it together now.
Looks promising. There we go.
Okay.
You are a good IT person.
And unfortunately, it is not allowing me to manipulate what's on that screen.
See, it popped up. So,
I'm afraid to unplug it. My guys left. Why don't you take a minute and share some information and let me do a little maneuvering here if you don't mind.
okay.
And I'm gonna try and like take this down and maybe it'll reset it a little bit.
Okay.
Let me
Yep.
just,
Yeah. Like I said, we do have some technical issues every now and then, so just hang tight there.
now
Yep.
try again, Carrie.
Right. Do you see it? Excuse me.
I see this on here. I'm just not able to manipulate it with my current setup. So sorry. I'm going to unplug this. Give me just a moment, please.
Sure, sure. And let me do this again.
Okay, I'll do that again. Well, folks, if you guys have any questions out there, now's the time to ask because we are wide open for questions. So,
And Carrie, it looks like you can see if you can advance it from this point because at least it moved.
All right.
There you go.
How's that?
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Well, welcome to our presentation. Sorry about that. But this is our local business tax requirements from the Louisville Metro Revenue Commission. And our first screen here is a little disclaimer. Our director is an attorney. So you can imagine, it's viewed, she wanted to make sure that folks know that this is not intended to be legal or tax advice. This is just general information and content and just for general information purposes only. So who are we? We are the Louisville Metro Revenue Commission. We are an agency of the Louisville Metro government, and we're the taxing authority that collects revenue that supports and funds Louisville Metro government. These taxes and revenue are collected from occupational license tax, withholding taxes on employee wages, as well as other tax types like transient room taxes on hotels and short-term rentals. There's also tax on certain insurance policies, and those all fund Louisville Metro government. So we'll talk about the first of this tax, and that is the occupational license tax. And this is a tax on the net profit of a business. So who has to pay this? Any person who's engaged in any business, trade, occupation, profession, or activity for profit in Louisville Metro has to pay the occupational license tax. And that is tax rate is 2.2% of the net profit that's reported by the business. So if you're a sole proprietor, you're going to take that Schedule C, you're going to have that net profit, and that's what's going to be taxed. The way that 2.2% is broken down is 1.25 of that goes to Louisville Metro government, 0.20 goes to TARC, and 0.75% goes to JCPS. These taxes are due annually on April the 15th, and taxpayers who have a total tax obligation of $5,000 in any given tax year will be required to make quarterly estimated payments towards their final tax obligation. Withholding taxes. So if you are a business and you have employees, you are required to withhold that 2.2% of the taxes from their checks and remit them to Louisville Metro with a return. And it is 2.2% if you are a resident in Louisville, Jefferson County. So if you reside in Louisville and you work in Louisville, you're going to pay the 2.2%. If you live outside of Jefferson County and work in Jefferson County, you're going to remit the 1.45. Basically, you do not pay the 0.75% that goes to JCPS. As they say, you're not a resident, you're not going to be utilizing the school system. So this depends. This is where you get the resident and non-resident. I will say this only applies to individual sole proprietorships. If you are an LLC or a company, the resident, non-resident is not applicable. So who needs to file an OL return? If you've had business activity, even if it's resulted in a loss, you're still required to file a return. If you were not in business during the tax year, but you intend to continue your business, maybe for whatever personal reasons you did not conduct any business, but you do plan on doing that again, you would still need to file a return. It could be something as a no activity return, but it still needs to be submitted. There's still that expectation of a return. If your business has stopped before the beginning of the tax year, but you've not notified us that business has stopped, we still anticipate a return from you. And if you were in business for part of the year but stopped before the end of your tax year, an expectation is that you're going to be also filing a return. So what happens if someone does not file their tax return on time? There are penalties and interest written into the ordinance that apply to folks who don't pay or submit their return. There is a 5% penalty for failure to file, and that is applied per month of the license tax due, not to exceed 25%. And that's the penalty part. And there's also interest at 12% per year on the unpaid tax rate. For withholding taxes, officers and members of a business could be personally liable because remember, they're withholding money from other people. So that's not even their money. So that's why sometimes officers or members of a business could be personally liable for taxes because they've withheld them from their employees. Something else that is a tool that Metro uses to get compliance for people to file and pay their taxes is sometimes it could impede your permits or licenses issued by Louisville Metro. So if you're a business needing a liquor license, or maybe you need a construction review permit, things like that, you've got to be in compliance with Louisville Metro in order for us to issue those permits for you to do your work. So how do you get started being a taxpayer? First, we need to know who you are, and that is we need to get you registered. And we have a couple of ways, but I will tell you probably the easiest and most efficient way is to go online and do your register a business on our eMINTS account. This is our online portal that allows you to register. It will set you up access to your account so you can send us messages and pay your payments, file your returns, and do everything online. And once you've registered, then you can return, sign in, and view your accounts as needed. If you want to, if computers are not your thing, you can go to our website and print off our paper registration form, but we're still going to encourage you, hopefully down the road, to create an eMINTS account. So compliance, we mentioned a minute ago, we get a lot of requests for this compliance. So folks who may be needing some type of taxi permit, a license, or your organization, maybe you're a nonprofit and you want to get a grant for your organization, or you want to get a contract to do work for the city. You need to be a registered taxpayer with Louisville Metro Revenue Commission and be in good standing. And so what has to happen is all the returns need to be filed and all documentation submitted and all payments made. That includes any tax, any penalty, and any interest due. And what we've created is a self-service feature on our eMINTS. So if you have an eMINTS account, you can go directly to your eMINTS account and check obtain proof of compliance. And if you're in good standing with us, it will generate a certificate for you to take to whatever agency that you're dealing with, and it lets them know that you're in good standing with us. So it used to be folks would have to come down here, we'd have to review it, we'd have to sign a piece of paper. So hopefully this is a good step for cutting some extra legwork out of a complicated process. So be sure if you need an eMINTS account, just checking compliance alone seems to be worth it. Some folks like professional help. Taxes are complicated. We don't recommend any tax preparers or CPAs, but the Kentucky Society of CPAs does have a resource where you can go to their website and look by region or specialty, and maybe you can find a tax professional that can help you. Additional resources, we do have a staff of customer service representatives that can help you with preparing and filing your returns. We can help get you registered in our office. Things that you'll need to bring when you come to our office is a photo identification. We do need to see a government issued ID for access to the building. You will need a full printed copy of your federal tax returns and all the schedules. Because we are a tax office and we have confidential and sensitive information, we take security very seriously, and that's why these things are necessary. I know most people a lot of times have e-copies and maybe have a PDF on their phone and would like to email them to us, but we are unable to do that for some type of security risk. We do ask that you bring the printed copies of everything. A lot of times for your sole proprietors, you're going to have that Schedule C that you're going to report your income or loss on. You will need to bring that. And if you're a corporation or other type of organization, you are going to need those other schedules as well. We are at 617 West Jefferson Street. You can call our customer service team at 574-4860 to schedule an appointment with one of them, and they'd be happy to prepare your return, update your account. We don't give tax advice, but we can help you navigate the local government return and updating your account. I'd be happy to take as many general questions as I can. For specific questions that might have some very specific information, I'm more than happy to leave contact information and follow up with anybody that's needed. Thanks for letting me tell you about Louisville Metro Revenue Commission.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we do have some questions, and before we get to those, I always get to ask my question first. So, so if I'm what's called a sole proprietor, which means I'm just going to, work on my own without setting up an LLC, and I'll be using my Social Security number, and then filing my federal tax. How do I register? Because we get calls with people say, I want to register, I need to get a business license, and that's where they come to you guys. How would they do that?
Right. So while our tax is called the occupational license tax, there really is no general business license for Louisville, Jefferson County. If you are a sole proprietor and you do not need a EIN to register with us, you would you would register under your social security number. There is no minimum amount of net profit. I have a colleague here that likes to say the guy down here that juggles or plays guitar on the corner of 4th Street should have a tax account. He is out there performing work. He is earning an income. He needs to register. So there's no minimum amount, and you don't have to have anything special. If you're a sole proprietor, you register with that social security number.
And they just come to that eMINTS site. That's how they would register with you.
Yes. When they go to the eMINTS site, it says register a new business. And actually, we are going to be updating that language because that word business throws people off because they may not view themselves as a business
Right.
because they don't have a storefront or employees or things like that. But any economic activity is business. So we are going to be updating that language to say register a new tax account so that, we're all speaking the same language.
Gotcha. Is there a fee to register?
There is not.
Okay. Awesome. So David Sauerback, who actually I know very well, who owns the Sauerback Family Drive-In in LaGrange, Kentucky. He would say, is Louisville Metro only inside Jefferson County?
It is. With Louisville, Jefferson County is one, we are one government. So if you are in Louisville, you're in Jefferson County. There's no separate Louisville tax or separate Jefferson County tax.
Also, are there any tax or reporting requirements if a resident of Jefferson County physically works in LaGrange? What if that resident was able to work from their home? That's an interesting question.
That is. Remote work, exploded on us. Our regulations do talk about remote work, and there are certain stipulations. Work performed in Louisville, Jefferson County is supposed to be taxed here. I would probably, on something like that, I would need some more details to make a yes, this person is or isn't required. But it's the work that is in Jefferson County that is supposed to be taxed.
Gotcha. Dave has one more. Other than registering as a landlord in Jefferson County, is there anything else required with no employees other than the eMINTS?
Well, we actually have a great document on our website under forms and publications that talks about rental property.
Okay.
Being a landlord, it depends. Are you a sole proprietor? Is it in your name? Is it commercial versus residential? So we've got to consider those other factors to determine what's required of those folks. But there is a flyer on our website that gives examples. Hey, you're a landlord and this is the type of property you own and this is the type of business structure it is. This is what's required of you. So I would suggest going to metrorevenue.org. Under our forms and publications, towards the bottom is a flyer about rental property, and it gives some great examples.
That's great. That's great to know. That's always a tough question to know.
Oh, we could do a whole, rental property could be its whole program.
Okay, we'll take you up on that then. You offered. Samantha says, what's the difference in functional between the Kentucky Business One-Stop Portal and eMINTS?
Yes, and we get that a lot. The walk-in traffic calls, the business one-stop portal, that is the Kentucky Department of Revenue. We're parallel to them in that we're Louisville Metro government. We don't intersect with them at all. The tax that they collect and what their requirements are fund state government, state programs. What Louisville Metro collects through our agency funds and stays here in Louisville, Jefferson County. So there's no connection between the one stop and the eMINTS.
Yeah, so if you're in Jefferson County, you actually have to file for 3 tax numbers. You have to file federally with the IRS, then with the state of Kentucky, and then with you.
Yes, and actually, there are other smaller cities within
Yeah.
Jefferson County,
Mhm.
J-Town, Linden,
Yeah,
most recently Middletown, West Mutual. There might even be a couple of others that also have an occupational tax in their jurisdiction.
right. Yeah, so be aware of where you are and what those agencies are. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, Chef CJ asks, greetings. He says hello. Does a sole proprietor register in Frankfurt along with eMINTS? Does one replace the other? We can answer that, but let's say it again.
So when they say does a sole proprietor register in Frankfurt, I'm presuming they're meaning registering with the Secretary of State.
I assume so, or could be revenue cabinet, but
Um, Regardless, we're separate from that. So you would need to register with Louisville Metro Revenue Commission through our eMINTS portal to be registered with us, but you would still need to register, whether it be the Secretary of State, whether it be the Kentucky One Stop portal with them to handle the state level requirements.
yeah. Um, let's see, we're getting some questions now. Kara says, I'm a military spouse. Home of record is Washington State. Currently living in Louisville and own a home. I'm a sole proprietor artist and operating here in Louisville. What does reporting look like for me?
Complicated. Um, That one, it takes a little extra work for me to answer, honestly. As a military spouse are exempt from certain occupational license taxes. If I need to do a little digging, if this lady were working, let's say at Walmart, they would not withhold the local tax on her. But as she's a sole proprietor artist, she's not employed elsewhere. I would want to do a little more digging on that. But I do know military, if you check our tax regulations, it does list certain exemptions. Military spouses are one of them, Kentucky Guard duty, poll workers, jury duty. There are certain things that are not taxable. Military spouses are one of them. But with your details, I would want to do a little more digging before I give a very specific answer.
Yeah. And they can call you guys. You guys can help them.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what you're there for. Kristen says, what do you have to do if you want to hire an employee to help you in your business, but you have a remote business? I guess Kristen means like if you hire somebody that doesn't live in Louisville that, maybe I don't know, I'm guessing here.
So let's say you have a business here in Louisville, Jefferson County, and you hire a person that lives in Indiana. You would not pay a tax to Louisville, Jefferson County for that employee. You would not withhold on that employee because that employee doesn't work here. Now,
Okay.
that's not to mean you don't need to check whatever jurisdiction that they're in and worry about what their reporting requirements are. But, we're taxing the work that's in the economic activity that's happening in Louisville, Jefferson County.
Right. That's great. That clears up a lot. Let's see. Jermaine has kind of a general question. He says, I'm just in startup and need guidance. So,
Well, depending on where he is in his business journey, we're probably not the first stop on his journey. He probably needs some help from other type of organizations to determine what he's going to be. But once he has some of that down, he can welcome to come in and we can get him registered once he kind of knows what direction he's going to go.
yep. So Jermaine, you can contact us. That's what we do, is help you can get things started up, and certainly we can do that. We do that every day. If you just go to LouisvilleSmallBusiness.com, up at the top, you'll see a button that says Coach Connect. Just click there and you can schedule a call with one of our coaches right then and there. They will be happy to help you. Cara also says, what other specific information should I prepare to send over to help with a clear answer? And she was the one that was asking about the military stuff. So what should she have written?
You're more than welcome to,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're more than welcome to call our customer service line, and one of our representatives can give you some information. You're also welcome to go to our website and check out our tax regulations. And if you search the word military spouse, you're going to find a segment about that, but we'll be more than happy to talk to you and walk you through what that means.
I see. Okay, great. Let's see, any other questions out there? Let's see, we got one more. Yeah, here we go. What if the employee is in Louisville and I hire them to help in my business?
Well, if your business is here in Louisville and your employees are here in Louisville, then you are going to withhold on them at the 2.2% rate. So if the work is here and they live here, they are subject to the withholding tax.
Yep. Okay. When when somebody's registering with you, let's say they set up an LLC, they before they can register with you, they'll also need their additional tax numbers because you're sort of the last stop, right?
Right. People need to know what their structure is going to be. Are they going to be a sole proprietor? Are they going to be an S corp? Oftentimes what happens is people may think one thing and then they register that way. And then after they get some assistance or guidance, they decide, I'm not going to be an S corp. I'm going to be an individual sole proprietor. Then it comes time to file their taxes, and the account is set up as an S corp with us, and they're unable to file as the individual, and we have to close that account and open a new one, which just delays them in getting their taxes filed. So, having those details worked out on the front end, knowing what kind of structure they're going to have, is really helpful before they come register with us.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ashley's asking about CPAs and other resources. You have a page on your website, right? Didn't you say that you had some taxing help there?
There is the Kentucky Society of CPAs has a CPA finder, where if you go to their website, you can put in what region of the state you're in, maybe what type of business specific industry you're in, and what you're looking for, and it will generate a list of folks in that area that can help you. We
Okay.
don't recommend tax preparers or CPAs
Okay,
ourselves.
great. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of a message. If you have a question, then that's tax related, I mean, get specific professional help on that. Are the only two local taxes to be collected through Metro Revenue, the withholding tax and the 2.2% net profit business tax?
Well, those are the main ones that we do collect, but we also collect transient tax. So those are the tax on short-term rentals and on hotel rooms, any type of transient accommodations. We also collect on insurance. There are certain insurances that have a tax premium on them. You're going to know if you are a tax salesperson, if you're a surplus lines broker, that is specific to that industry and those folks. Additionally, we do have a truck tax that we issue once a year. If there's a truck, there's no return. It's a one-time receivable billing that goes out. If you have a truck between a certain weight, you will get a bill from us. Those are the main ones. I think that covers just about everything. But as far as being a business owner, you're going to worry about the net profit and the withholding.
Gotcha. Okay. It's a lot to know here. So any other questions out there? We can slip them in here very quickly. Yeah, there's been some great questions here. I really appreciate your all's feedback. I mean, engagement. I mean, you guys have been great. So Michael says, I've registered my LLC but I don't intend to start generating income for several months. Do I need to make a quarterly filing anyway?
That is a good question. There's a lot of unknown in that question. If you don't intend to start generating income, um, you would not need to make a quarterly filing. If the tax regulations, basically, if you're just starting out, you don't know what your anticipated revenue is going to be. So your first year, I don't want to say is a gimme, but once you establish that $5,000 tax obligation, then those quarterly payments become required. Up until you've established that, those tax payments aren't required.
Okay, that was a good question. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. All right. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, this has been great as always. I mean, you have a rare talent of making taxes interesting and engaging, and everyone wants to ask you questions. So, yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, Carrie and I were at an event about a month or so ago, and yeah, she was working the room hard. Everybody was wanting to talk to Carrie. So,
Well, as someone, I did not come from a tax background. I came from a Louisville Metro background. And so I've really grown and developed an appreciation for the tax life, if you will, in that, I worked for codes and regulations in Metro Council and finance. And you always took it for granted. Well, how am I going to staff my staff? How am I going to pay the neighborhood development fund? Well, this is how all the other agencies make things happen. If it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for the business owners and the employees working here in our environment, we could not fund and provide the services that Metro government does. And, our goal is to, while we want compliance, and yes, we do issue penalties and interest, we want to be friendly and we want to be accommodating and we want people to like doing business in Louisville Metro, and we want to encourage that.
right. Yeah. We do a good job at that. So, well, Carrie,
Well,
go
our
ahead.
contact information was on the last slide. Feel
Mhm.
free to reach out and we will be happy to get back with you.
Yeah. We'll send everybody later on today your information and a replay of this what we did today. And if you have any questions, please reach out to the Louisville Metro Revenue Cabinet. They're a great bunch of folks and they can help you. And I put a link to our Coach Connect page in the chat if you want to reach out and chat with one of our coaches on your startup journey. Be happy to talk to you about that. We also have a lot of resources for existing businesses that are growing too. So hit us up on the page. Be happy to talk to you and see everybody. So let's see. So Jermaine wants to know if he can get your email. That you can ask a couple other questions, if that'd be all right.
I just left it there in the chat.
Okay. Perfect. There it is. I'll leave that up for a second. Melissa says, thank you for the information today. I appreciate your efforts and assistance. Yeah, Nellie says, thank y'all. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Yeah. We are carrie.peers@metrorevenue.org. Well, Carrie, thanks so much for sharing again. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.
Janet, thanks for everything. See ya tomorrow.